Good day and welcome back to another Dbz Dokkan battle video. In this video we are going to be taking a look at how SS4 Gohan, Super Saiyan 4 Gohan does in the Cell Max event. Now obviously, full disclaimer as always, the Cell Max event is an event that is best taken on with units that have a high level of damage reduction or have a high level of evasion, or have a guard, or sometimes have a combination of these mechanics. And Gohan is indeed one of these units that does have these combinations. Gohan is an INT type, so he naturally has guard against the tech phase of Cell Max, and he has, when you have two Giant Ape Power or more category characters on the team, 50% damage reduction, so pretty good stuff. Gohan overall is a very strong unit. I think he's great on the Dragon Ball Heroes team, and he's one of the units that really enables the Dragon Ball Heroes team to do well against Cell Max. Dragon Ball Heroes is, especially if you have dupes in the units, a very good team to run against Cell Max. And so, quite frankly, Gohan is a very big, crucial part in that. So, obviously, just continue the disclaimer. You shouldn't use the Cell Max event to evaluate units. The Cell Max event does not determine whether a unit is good or bad, but it is just a very interesting way to take a look at units. INT units naturally have an advantage against Cell Max, which means any half-decent INT unit immediately looks like one of the best units. Well, not half-decent, but any good INT unit instantly looks a lot better than other units in the Cell Max event. If you were to make Cell Max physical type, then all of a sudden strength units would be in vogue. Obviously, something I think that's super important is just in general that we look at units through a fair lens. So I think in general Gohan is a fairly good unit, regardless of the fact that Cell is going to be tech type. Gohan is just very good. He's got a high level of damage reduction. He's got a very easy to fulfill requirement with Giant Ape Power not being the hardest team to kind of make work. And just in general, he's a very decent unit, I would say. So for me, personally speaking, I think he's great. I think he does a fantastic job. And I think in general, I have quite a lot of faith in his ability to perform well, not only in this event, but just in a lot of events in general. He's great in SBR with the stunning mechanic in his passive. And yeah, in general, he's just a very consistent, very strong unit. Obviously, having two new 200% leads also helps him out a lot. Yeah, I think most players will have a fairly good, fairly consistent time running Gohan. Now, with that being said, I do think Gohan at 55% probably lacks a little bit of the base stats needed to really do a great job. One thing I will say, the Dragon Ball Heroes don't have the highest level of base stats, so it is somewhat important that essentially you can kind of cater and build around these things with essentially how can I say, with basically, having dupes in them. By having dupes in them, you counter their low stats and they tend to do a lot better. Damage reduction is one of those things that makes every little bit of defense count a lot more as well. So in general, it is probably preferable to have at least 2 dupes in Gohan, or maybe even 3, just to access as much of his defense as possible. Having him link leveled also helps as well. It's generally one of those things that makes him a lot better overall. But yeah, in general, Gohan's still really good. He handles all the phases really well. And yeah, I like him a lot. I think for me, he's a really good unit. He's great, he's reliable, and he doesn't let you down. He's super consistent, he's super good, he's strong, he's an incredibly dependable unit. And yeah, I think in general you as a player shouldn't have the biggest issue with running him in your team. Obviously, as a tank, I think he does a great job. You're going to see him tank the Cell Max, the tech stage, pretty well with very minimal issues. And yeah, that's him with 1 dupe, not max link leveled, so there is still room to grow. And I think most players can appreciate a tank like that. A lot of players are crying out for very high level tanks for this kind of event, to soak up Cell Max and just be able to protect their damage dealing units. And Gohan is definitely one of those units. The damage he can reduce Cell Max to is very impressive, and so I do think overall he is possibly one of the better tanks for Cell Max. in general, and considering how strong his team is, as a team, as a unit, against Silmax, I think you shouldn't really struggle to make him work. So we'll see him tank Tech Silmax here. Obviously he has a little bit of support on the rotation, but no Saiyan Raw, so kind of, not that it cancels out fully, but it definitely isn't like his apex situation. But yeah, in general you're going to see him tank pretty well. He's got 50% damage reduction, 200 and so thousand defense, and he's obviously also got more defense after he supers. Ideally you'd want him to get supered afterwards, but Silmax seems to just like to super straight up. But only 345k, which seems like a lot, but honestly speaking is not a lot. 345k is not a lot of damage at all. It's actually incredibly low on the spectrum of damage, and so yeah, really good job tanking from Gohan. So in general, I think if that doesn't impress you, then maybe you haven't done enough of the Silmax event. But yeah, Gohan tanks fairly well here. Now obviously if he was to take a super from Metal Cooler, he would still take a fair chunk of damage. I don't think that's up for debate. But yeah, overall I think he looks really good, and if you got him, you should use him. But yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.